What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my video guide for Dimensions and Entropy Tier 11 or Level 11, Floor 11, whatever you want to call it. Now before we start, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel guys, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Now without further ado, let's start this video. Okay guys, we'll start this video off with the general tips and guide, and the first one here is going to be to save around 30 to maybe even 40% of your abilities. Basically what you have to do is count up how many abilities you have and then divide it by 4, because there's 4 waves in total, and whatever that magic number is basically is what you can use per wave. Generally I do like to try and save a lot of my abilities for the final wave, because sometimes that can be the home stretch and you can go ham with your abilities if you think you have quite a lot of extra ones. The next one here is to bring in a healer that can actually prevent debuffs. So you've got Ignis, Selfie, or Lenna. They are going to definitely be able to help you clear this particular dimensions and floor, because a lot of the bosses here, they apply a lot of debuffs, whether it's stat reducing debuff or debuffs that are very annoying like Confuse, Venom, Poison Sap, you name it, they have it. So these 3 are definitely going to help you out. Now the next thing that I would highly suggest is bringing a tank. It's not completely necessary, however it does make the run a lot safer. So if you have a tank like Zack, Snow, Galuf, or Bosch, they can definitely help you out. Although I must warn you, Zack can definitely be gimped in this fight because of his EX being a magic type of DPS. So unfortunately for him, if you do decide to use his EX ability, you won't be able to use it to its full potential. Now for my next tip is for those waves where there are 2 bosses, you can kill them one by one. There's no enrage mechanic, so you should be safe. And as for your summon, I do highly suggest just bringing Shiva along. I may be a little bit biased for my part, but definitely feel like it's well worth bringing. And the last tip I can give you guys is just to avoid bringing magic based characters. So things like, you know, Emperor, Ultimisia. I know we do have quite a ton of very good magic based characters, but try to avoid those, because all of them, basically all the entire fight, they are double resistant to magic based attacks. Okay guys, now let's go through this with the strategy wave by wave. Now wave 1 is going to be the 2 lunatic Beelzebub, I think that's how you pronounce it. Just be careful here with the Confuse. It's pretty annoying, and I would just say just make sure you have your debuff protection up, you know, at all times. They can also dispel, which is pretty annoying. However, they cannot dispel all frame buffs, so you should be safe if you do decide to bring Lenna along, because Windrake, you know, aura is basically a frame buff, so you should be safe. Other than that, just, you know, DPS them down. Again, they don't exactly have any enrage mechanics, so you can just focus on one and then kill the other one afterwards. Wave 2 is going to be just the 1 lunatic Rafflesia. I don't know. Okay, it's hard to pronounce. Final Fantasy enemies. Anyway, this boss can apply a lot of annoying debuffs like Venom, Confuse, Poison, and even Sap. So make sure you just have your debuff protection up at all times, and again, you should be fine. Now on to wave 3, where you have to fight 2 lunatic Death Gaze. Now these Death Gaze can also remove your buffs, so yeah, they can be pretty annoying. However, your frame buff should be fine as well. They can also trigger an HP attack whenever their brave is at least 50% of their max brave. So with their usual Blizzaga and Eroga, they can trigger Rip, which is their HP attack. So Brip is basically going to increase their brave when their brave is less than their initial brave, and will initiate that HP attack. So just be a little bit careful on that one. Other than that, they can also inflict a break, although this is a pretty low chance without reducing your brave. This is a low chance, but they can still pull it off, so be careful with that one. Again, debuff protection up and you should be fine. Now on to wave 4, which is the final wave. Now this is going to be the Lunatic Atlas. Now we've fought this a few times now. It can apply a lot of stat reduction debuffs like attack down, max brave down, initial brave down. All pretty, you know, pretty annoying as well, I would say. It's not as annoying as the previous waves. However, once you start, you know, you're attacking with such a very low amount of brave, it can be pretty annoying. Although if you do have a brave battery, which you honestly should, you should be fine in terms of HP damage. However, brave shaving can be an issue with this one, so make sure you have your debuff protection up. Now the last thing I would warn you guys about with this one is it does have an AoE brave plus HP attack. So when you see that all attack, just be a little bit careful and make sure you're topped up with brave and you don't get broken, because it can hit pretty hard. Okay guys, now let's go through the possible party compositions. Let's start off with the first one here, which you guys are seeing in this video. I decided to rock this with Snow, Lenna, and Jack with a Shiva summon. Snow for tanking, Lenna for that debuff protection or evasion. She's a good battery and also has heals. Plus, my Lenna is actually EX only, so 3/3 EX only. I didn't even put a book on her on this particular fight, and she did pretty well. Jack is here mostly for the DPS, because Lenna isn't going to be doing a lot of that. So you do have to bring, if you do plan to bring Lenna along and you don't have her like at 3/3, make sure you bring along a high damaging characters. So Jack is one of those characters and very, very helpful. He can also dodge those attacks that will inflict, you know, confuse and stuff like that, even if you don't have a tank. Now the second one I have for you guys is going to be with Lightning, Selfie, and Jack once again, and Shiva for the summon. Lightning for the delays and of course big single target damage, and very helpful in wave 2 and wave 4. Selfie for the debuff protection, although it's not 100%, it's still pretty useful. She can also heal and increase your recharge ability for your EX ability. Jack, again, just for the damage. Now on to the third one is going to be Snow, Ignis, and Ramza. This is with a Shiva summon, and Snow is basically here for the tanking, Ignis for debuff evasion and heals, Ramza for the damage, and can save you a lot of turns with that HP attack plus. So definitely a must-have, because Ignis is going to be using a lot of turns. So if you can have a turn-saving character, it's definitely going to help you out. Now the final team I have for you guys here is going to be a bit of a tricky one, and I think this is going to be a fun way to deal with the debuff mechanics. So this is Galuf, Penelo, and Yuffie, and Shiva for the summon. Galuf for cover tanking, and I do have to warn you guys with Galuf here, he won't be doing a lot of counters because a lot of the enemies actually use magic based attacks. So he can still cover the team, however he won't be doing a lot of counters, so you can't use him to his full potential. Yuffie is the key to this team. Basically, when the enemies do apply those debuffs, most of them are actually AoE attacks. So pretty much Galuf will not be able to cover everyone when it does happen. So what Yuffie does with her buffs is basically just throw it back on the enemies, and then when you get Penelo's turn, you can pretty much just push some of those debuffs away. So that's one way to deal with this mechanic. Alright guys, so we're finally towards the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts regarding this fight. This fight can go two ways, pretty easy or really difficult. The main reason why it can turn easy is if by any chance you have invested on Lenna, then this fight should be pretty easy. You just have to bring 2 other characters that, you know, pretty much can DPS down the boss, or even a tank that can do pretty well like Snow, and pretty much it's gonna be an easy fight. If you don't have Lenna and you only have her EX, just like what I have, it can be a little bit tricky, although it's still you can still pull it off. I did have to rerun this particular Chaos fight or Dimensions End with the same team because I was too conservative in my previous run, or on my first run, so ended up not making the score requirement, even though I did get all the mission requirement. But the thing was, I actually just reached the turn requirement at 105. That's why maybe I didn't get the score that I needed. But you know, that's that. If you don't have Lenna or Ignis or Selfie, you're gonna rely on Yuffie. It's gonna be a little bit tricky. It's still doable, but it's gonna be tricky. Now, if you do decide not to bring any of those characters that I have suggested, well, this is gonna be pretty hell for you. It's still doable, but I don't know why you would not use any of these characters that can prevent debuffs, because the entire freaking fight is all about debuff evasion, basically. So anyway, I think I'll put it to either easy or really hard. It just depends on your roster, basically. That's all I have to say for this particular fight. So I'll end the video right here. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help my channel, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm as well if you hit those like buttons, you know. And if you do decide to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, make sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. And again, leave down in the comments below what team you use for this particular fight. Let me know. Did you go for the easy route and use Lenna and other debuff evasion characters, or did you make it hell for yourself? Let me know down in the comments below. This is Munchkins logging off. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next level.